But in Manila proper, other places in Metro Manila, obviously in the provinces, you'll see poverty levels at an extreme level, and you'll see a lot of homeless. You'll see a lot of people living in squatters areas, in just little shacks with a tin roof. It's just something that is really hard to grasp if you're not used to it, or if you haven't seen that level of poverty before. Now, hello herd, it's JJ the Lonely Bull in Asia. Good morning. Going to take a little walk today. I've got a couple of subscribers that are in town that I'm meeting later on this afternoon. But I want to talk about the 10 truths about the Philippines that you may not be aware of, and it may change your mind on whether you want to visit or live here or not. Let's do this right now. Okay, as you can see by the sign behind me, I'm in BGC, Bonifacio Global City. Beautiful city, beautiful district inside of Taguig in Metro Manila in the NCR. But let's start with number 10 and make sure you stick around for number 1 because you're going to love it. And I mean love it. But number 10 is the noise. That's a jeepney going by. If you're in cities, there's a lot of traffic and you're gonna get a lot of noise. You hear the siren coming. Now, it's probably no different than being in New York or downtown Chicago, but if you're not used to this big city and all the noise, it might not be to your liking. If you're very sensitive to noise, loud noises or sudden noises, you know, maybe you even suffer from PTSD or something like that. Big areas like this may not be for you. Now, you can get into the more rural, the more provincial areas, but you're still going to get noise. You're going to get karaoke up to 3 in the morning. You're going to get roosters that crow all the time, and you're going to get dogs barking all the time too. So no matter where you go in the Philippines, it's going to be noisy. It's the loudest country I've ever been to, hands down. Okay, I'm in one of the many parks that are around in BGC. They're smaller parks, but they got a lot of greenery, a lot of shade, a lot of places to sit. Right behind me is the Central Park, which is a fenced-in dog park. So if you have pets, which many people do here in the Philippines and especially here in BGC, you can take your dog there and let it roam free because it's all fenced in. This is a dog-friendly city. So number 9 on the list is the water and the street food in the Philippines, not necessarily safe. Now, they do say their water is potable, but that doesn't mean it's safe to drink because a lot of the pipes and the retaining areas are very corroded and rusted, and you get a lot of bacteria that comes through. So unless you have a filtration system, or your restaurants have filtration systems, most of them in the big city do, you can get the service water here, so that's okay. But if you don't have a filtration system in your condo, you'll have to get the big jugs or go to 7-Eleven and buy water yourself in the bottles. But it's not expensive. You can get a big 5-gallon jug of water, and it's only going to cost you no more than 50 peso for the jug, which is under $1. So the water isn't really drinkable. You can shower in it and you can wash your dishes in it and that sort of thing, but I wouldn't use it for cooking. I wouldn't use it for drinking, definitely. The other thing is the street food. Now, there are street food vendors, not so much here in BGC, but right outside in Manila and other small areas and provincial areas. And you'll see a lot of locals eating the street food, which is great because they're used to it. But I've eaten the street food, and almost every time I've gotten sick from it. So you have to be careful. And if you have a very strong stomach, I guess, then go ahead and try it. But for me, I kind of stay away from the street food here in the Philippines. Now, the food you get at the restaurants are fine. Street food here just does not compare to, say, Thailand or Vietnam. I've never had an issue with eating street food in either of those countries that I've been to. Same with Singapore. Just be aware if you have a kind of a weak stomach and you get sick from food a lot, I would maybe avoid that, okay? Okay, I'm at another one of the parks, and right behind me is the Sun Life Amphitheater. Sun Life is, I believe it's an insurance company here in the Philippines. And behind me here is the BGC Art Center. So they've got a performing arts theater back here, really nice. And of course, you've got this nice little park here with some of the art designs, and on weekends they'll put tents and tables out here and have vendors, different artsy, fartsy vendors and things like that. So, all right, number 8, truth about the Philippines. Sorry, sir, unavailable. You're going to hear that a lot. And what that means is that if you go and order some food off the menu at a restaurant, the chances are pretty good that something that you order will not be available. They'll be out of stock. And I don't know what the issue might be, whether it's just an issue of getting items here because it's an island nation, so it's harder to import things, or whether it's just poor management as far as not stocking the items before they run out. You know, not ordering the new stuff before the other stuff runs out. I think it might be a little combination of both, but you're going to run into that problem a lot, that you're going to want something on the menu and you're going to order it, and they're going to say, or they're going to come back and say, sorry, unavailable, it's not available. So you just have to deal with it. If that's something that's going to irritate you on a regular basis, you shouldn't come to the Philippines. But if you learn to roll with the punches, try something new off that menu that you haven't had before, that might be something that you really like, and then you can go from there. Okay, we're in High Street South. Okay, you probably heard me talk and show you a lot about High Street. This is a newer developed area, and it's just obviously south of the regular High Street. So they call it High Street South. And it's got a lot of nice restaurants. We're sitting outside the Bolero right now. Very upscale, very nice restaurant with indoor and outdoor dining, lots of shade, nice little breeze coming through. So number 7 on the list of truths here in the Philippines is the poverty level is shocking. When I first visited the Philippines back in 2015, I was absolutely floored by the amount of poverty, or the level of poverty here in the Philippines. When you get out into Manila, now I talk about BGC being a bubble, so you don't really see that here, or even so much in Makati, except for some areas outside of the business district. But in Manila proper, other places in Metro Manila, obviously in the provinces, you'll see poverty levels at an extreme level. And you'll see a lot of homeless. You'll see a lot of people living in squatters areas, in just little shacks with a tin roof. It's just something that is really hard to grasp if you're not used to it, or if you haven't seen that. Now, there's poverty in the US, there's poverty all over the world, but I've never seen it at this level anywhere in my lifetime. So it was really a shock for me. So that's the truth about the Philippines, that if that's something that really tugs at your heartstrings, there's really not a lot you can do about it. I mean, you can give money here and there, but it's not really going to help too much. I mean, maybe you can help one family out, but there's agencies around here that you can go to that will help in one way or another. Maybe food and things like that, school clothes, school items, things like that. So you can help out on an individual basis or a small scale. But that poverty level is something that is a real truth around here. I don't even see that to this level in places like Thailand. So the Philippines is kind of unique in the countries, at least that I've visited. Now, I haven't been to any European countries or any Western Asian countries. So like I've heard India is really bad too. But I'm saying here in the Philippines, the poverty level is outrageous. It's crazy. Okay, we're in a High Street regular now. High Street runs east and west. I'm kind of right in the middle between 7th Avenue and 9th Avenue behind me. Number 6 on the list of truths about the Philippines, it kind of goes with number 7 in the poverty level, but there's beggars everywhere. And not so much in BGC, in this bubble, but I will say within the last few months, I've seen a little more of that element coming in here, but they usually try to keep that out. But there's beggars. When you get outside of BGC, you're going to find beggars everywhere, and in the provinces as well. Beggars and vendors just walking around the streets or the sidewalks selling items. They may be selling packs of cookies. They may be selling the little flowers that they have, those little white flowers on a string. You'll see a lot of that there. They may be selling, if you get into the red light districts, they're selling the Viagras and the condoms and things like that. Or they may be trying to sell you a watch or a cell phone too. You see a lot of that in Thailand too, especially on the lower part of Sukhumvit Road. But if you're driving through Manila or riding in a taxi or a Grab, you're at a stoplight. Kids are going to come up and try to get money from you. So always keep your windows up when you're riding in the city. But the fact that it happens everywhere in the Philippines, that's just one of the truths. You just have to get used to it and just understand that that's part of the culture here. And if you can't handle that, then maybe you shouldn't be here. Or go to a place like BGC where you're in that little bubble and you don't see that element so much, okay? Okay, truth number 5 here in the Philippines that you may not be aware of. It's not the cheapest place to live in Southeast Asia. There are countries other than the Philippines that are actually cheaper. Now, this isn't the most expensive place to live. In fact, that's why most expats come here, because it's still cheaper than where they came from in the West. Like for me, for instance, that's why when my job ended here, I didn't move back to the West. I retired and I could live a decent life here in the Philippines. But you're still going to pay more than a lot of other Southeast Asian countries. Like Thailand, you can probably get a nicer condo nicer furnishings, better built for a cheaper price than you could the same size condo here in the Philippines. Vietnam's the same, a lot cheaper. The food's cheaper there. The infrastructure is better in those countries than here. But that's basically, I mean, I'm right outside the Shangri-La here in BGC. You can stay here and pay a premium Western price to stay here. You know, they've got, if you want Western food, you're going to pay a little more for that, especially if you go to nicer restaurants like right over there is Wolfgang's. But they've got some really nice restaurants in the Philippines where you're going to pay Western or near Western prices. In fact, some places you'll pay a little more than you would in the West. I saw a comment the other day on one of my videos or somebody else's video. They were basically saying they went to Texas Roadhouse here in BGC and they paid more than they would have in the West, which is probably true. Because if they're getting beef, beef is hard to come by here. You pay a lot for importing beef, no matter where it's from, whether it's from Japan, Australia, or the US, or wherever, but you're paying an import tax. So you're going to pay a little extra when you go to restaurants or grocery stores to get that. But it's still cheaper than most places in the West. So don't let that deter you from thinking about moving here or retiring here, even though it's not the most, not the cheapest place in Southeast Asia. It's still affordable. Okay, just had lunch with a couple of subscribers. Got to meet them today, Gary and Debbie. Gary is Filipino. Debbie is American from Nebraska, so fellow Husker. So it was nice to get to meet the both of them and have a little lunch at Single Origin, and so super cool. All right, back to the list. All right, number 4 on the list, and I've kind of combined a couple of things, but it's the infrastructure here in the Philippines. And I'm talking about traffic, transportation, and walking. Let's talk about the traffic first. Traffic is a mess here. Even in the smaller cities, it can be problematic. There are no real laws. They're more like suggestions. I always say that here in the Philippines, as far as what traffic is all about. So you're going to run into a lot of issues with just the just how much traffic there really is, and especially during rush hours. It could take you what would normally be a 15-minute drive or ride. It could take you an hour. So you just have to understand that. Another thing about the infrastructure is the transportation. Here in Manila, they have what's called the MRT, which is the rail transport. Yeah, we have it here, but it's not super convenient. It's not like you would get in Bangkok, where they've got them all over the place. They've got the rail system here, but the stations aren't necessarily in locations that are convenient to you. So it may drop you off at a certain station, but you still have to take a jeepney or a cab or a grab or walk or a bike to where you want to go, and it could be quite a distance yet. So it's just not super convenient. Now I know they're talking about putting a subway system in that runs north and south in Metro Manila. So that's something maybe in the future that might alleviate some of these problems. And then the third thing about infrastructure are the sidewalks and just walking. Now here in the Philippines, you see behind me, big wide sidewalks here in BGC. You don't get that everywhere though. If you get outside of the BGC bubble, it's a hit or miss thing. Now in Makati, they've got some areas like in the business district, that have nice wide level sidewalks that are well kept. But a lot of places in Manila and also in the provinces don't have that. They've got sidewalks that are narrow, they're in disarray, they're busted up. There's a lot of holes that you have to navigate around so you don't trip or twist an ankle or something like that. So you've got those issues. And then some places don't even have sidewalks, so you have to walk in the street. And the ones that do have sidewalks, there's probably motorcycles parked on them or vendors parked there. So you still have to get out in the street into the traffic to get around there. So that could be problematic. And you just have to be aware of that when you move to the Philippines, that's just one of those things that is always going to be there, and you just have to get used to it. All right, we're in Burgos Circle, beautiful little area that connects High Street to my right in Forbes-town, right behind me. Truth number 3 in the Philippines is the heat. It's hot here all the time. You basically have 3 seasons. You've got hot, hotter, and rainy season. So you just have to get used to it. If you're not used to the heat and the humidity, the Philippines isn't for you. I've been here over 2.5 years living here now, and there's still times where it's a little unbearable. Last May we had a heat wave, and it was in the 100s every day, and it hadn't rained since back in December last year. It got really bad, but the heat is a lot different than what you might be used to. I know a lot of people equate it to like Florida heat, or maybe Houston in the Gulf, that kind of heat, because you get a lot of humidity. But there's just something about it that is different, and you sweat a lot. You'll be changing clothes. If you're outside, you'll be changing clothes, twice a day. You'll be taking 2 or 3 showers a day if you spend a lot of time outside. So the key is to find shade when you can, and find an area that has a little bit of a breeze, and that'll make things a lot more comfortable for you. This is Uptown Mall, so we're on the north end of BGC. All right, truth number 2 about the Philippines: scammers. You've got a chance to get scammed in several ways. First of all, when you first get here, there's the taxi scam. When you walk out of the airport and people come up to you and say, "You need a taxi, sir," and you think, "Oh, nice, I'll get a taxi." Well, they're going to overcharge you by quite a bit. A normal taxi ride from the airport to, say, BGC is 400 peso, maybe a little more than that, depending on the traffic. They could charge you up to 3,000 peso. And you being new to the Philippines, you may think, oh, that's cheaper than in New York City, so what the heck, why not? But in reality, they're scamming you. Another scam might be what's called the skin tax, where if you go somewhere and they've got items for sale but not a price marked, they look at you thinking you're new to the area, you're new to the country, you're fair-skinned or whatever, you're a foreigner. They're going to charge you a little more than normal to get that item. So the best thing to do is find a Filipina to go with you to do that kind of shopping for you, so you don't fall into that trap. And of course, the third scam is And of course, the third scam is getting scammed by a Filipina. So you could go on those dating sites and they may say they like you, and the next thing you know, they're asking for money. You may say, "How are you today?" And they'll say, "Not good, Po." That means the next thing that's coming out of their keyboard or their phone is, "I need money for a new phone. I need a load. My Lola is sick and needs hospital money." Whatever the case may be, keep moving. Keep moving. Hey, I'm doing a video. Whatever the case may be, they're going to try to get money out of you. And then if you become an LDR, maybe they're getting money out of you, which is long distance relationship. Maybe they're getting money out of you on a regular basis, but you might not be their only boyfriend. They may have others that are doing the same, okay? So just be aware that scams do happen here in the Philippines. Okay, we're inside Uptown Mall, 3rd floor, just kind of checking things out. All right, before I get to truth number 1 in the Philippines, if you like what you see, smash that like button for me. Hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, because only about 20% of my viewers are actually subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button, and you can share this video to other people so it gets out to more people so I can share my experience with you. Okay, number 1 truth. In the Philippines, you will fall in love, guaranteed. There's so many beautiful Filipina here in BGC and all throughout the Philippine Islands that it's guaranteed that you will fall in love at least once, probably 2 or 3 times in your time here. So just be prepared for that, because that love bug is here, and it's not a cockroach, it's the love bug. And it's going to bite you, and you're going to fall in love with a beautiful Filipina. So guarantee, be aware. Don't do anything until you get here. Once you're here with your boots on the ground, then you can find your girl, find your Filipina, and then you can fall in love. But that's number 1 truth, is you will fall in love here in the Philippines. Okay, those are my 10 truths. Let me know in the comments what you think. Of course, like and subscribe and share this video. I do appreciate it. And until next time, mabuhay, my friend. Live life, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.